Hello everybody and welcome to this tutorial how to create this quite interesting looking brooch in Shapr3D. This is a process focused lecture, which means I will show you how I would start with a reference geometry like a bust for scale, then create geometrical basic prototypes like study objects, make copies and multiply them, move them around, explore like position, etc. And then continuing working with copies, simulating kind of like a metal forging process, and then also explore various like design variations till at the end we settle for the final design you see here. As always, there are a lot of tips and tricks in these videos, so stay tuned and enjoy the road. So here we are inside the Shapr file we share with you. The dimension is set to millimeters. We're going to work with very thin material. This is a very good unit system to use. Also, all the snapping tools are turned on. And I will use the grid to kind of like my digital workbench. Again, our task is to design a brooch I can wear. Now, in real world, I could take a piece of paper, cut it out, hold it against my chest, and then compare. How does it look? In the digital world, what I can do to do this is bring in a three-dimensional representation of a body part. In this case, as you can see, a bust. And this is very useful because I can now go ahead and sketch somewhere a rectangle. Bring this rectangle in and then see how does it look? How big is it? This is 90 millimeters. This is 110. It's a pretty big brooch. 60 to 80 is still very big. 50 to 80. What about 50 to 70? You see how nicely you use actually the grid to very quickly adjust the dimensions. I will add a horizontal vertical constraint so these elements can't rotate anymore. If you want, we can even add the dimensions so we have those as a permanent readout, and I can hide the bust now at this point now too because I don't need it anymore. So with this rectangle basically now done, I will double tap it, and then again, this is a matter of personal preference. I will line this up nicely on the grid. The lower left corner, as you can see there, is lined up. Move this out. There. So this is going to be a sheet metal, and can also be 3D printed if we want to. And thinking about like working with real material, I would like to create spherical bumps on it. So from behind with a spherical tool and hammer, I have to kind of like hammer and forge these depressions or bumps through the surface. So they will actually look circular. That means, okay, I need to have some circles somewhere. There we are. Very good. These circles I can move around a little bit, play with the size. So we kind of like have a, from top it gets smaller and smaller to the bottom. There we are. Very good. Cool. Okay. Now to build the surface, so the sheet, it's actually very easy. With a finger I go into 3D view, select all the profiles, and with a pencil drag this to 1 millimeter material thickness. I will hide this body so it's out of my view. Now I would like to create the spherical elements, which once this is done will be just half spheres. So how do I turn a circle into a sphere? It's actually very easy. I go back to the sketch and just draw 2 lines from the center of a circle. Then I select both lines and turn them to be vertical by adding a vertical constraint. The main reason why I did this is now I have exactly a proportional equal left and right half of a circle. I select the profile, select a line which will be the axis, and now I can turn this into a revolve object. Looking at the top, I can even then go ahead and say, just make me a 180 rotation. That's all I need. Perfect. Very nice. So how do we do the other 3 spheres? We can basically do the same. We can add the sketch elements, but we can also simply do this. I go to the front view, make a copy, move this one down, move this one here, move this down, turn the copy off, double tap, bring this one up, double tap, bring this one down. And now with a finger I rotate and take a look at the back. And there we can see where everything is. In the object lister on the left side, you can see how I just simply tap on an object, zoom in a little bit more, and I'm positioning them more precisely. There, and here's the other one. Then we would like to adjust also the size. This is 8, 6, and 4. Now they do not, a double tap, they are not 100% perfectly lined up onto the circle. You can do this if you want to. See, I zoom in more. This allows me to work with a much finer grid, but I will in a moment show you the reason why this is actually not something I'm going to pay much attention to. Right now, I'm more or less really trying to figure out proportions. I turn on the other object again, and it's quite nice. Now I can rotate around and take a look how this brush could look. Very good. Okay, so let's select all these objects. Lower left corner plus new folder. You can give this folder a name. For example, I call this raw because that's the starting point. And then I select this folder, turn on the copy function and move this over. So I have exactly 1 centimeter of a gap in between. Again, I approach this a little bit like working on a jewelry workbench, and I'm planning out my construction or production line. Maybe this layout I don't really like yet. It needs some changes, so I can bring these pieces closer together and maybe have a different flow. Okay, select this folder, make a copy. There we are. Do one more version. Double tap. Double tap. Okay. So you get the idea why I said at the beginning, I'm not going to waste or spend too much time on trying to line up the spheres onto the circles, simply because I will, as you can see, move them around later anyway. And there's another reason why I didn't try to position the spheres perfectly. So that's actually pretty nice. I will go ahead, now double tap, double tap, double tap, double tap, double tap, and then we will join everything. Keep originals off. I want this to be kind of like fused together. Or if you want to keep the original building parts, you can keep original on. There we are. So now here you see we have just one object. Maybe for those who are not familiar, let me undo this step. I can select everything inside this folder, union, and say original on. You see it says 5 bodies. Click OK. Oh no, there are 6 bodies. Now the question is, which body is what? So there you can see it. This highlights everything. With a finger, press and drag this one out. These other folders we can hide. There's no my new object. Single piece. This is really useful because now I can select an edge and start rounding these edges. Do a nice fillet and explore how this will look. Not too bad. When I select the circle, go to move. Can we move this? Yeah, we can. So you see, even now we can still refine everything, which is really nice. And I try to add a little bit more of a distance between these elements. There. Okay. You can also select the fillet and this piece and then move. But because the fillet rounded in a sharp edge, you saw that by just moving this sphere, the fillet moved with it. Okay. Very nice. So from the front, this looks good. From the back, it does not look good. How do we, how do we create this now to make a really nice transition? So I will call this brooch and select it, make a copy, and I move this piece exactly 1 millimeter back. Why did I do 1 millimeter? Well, because from this, I'm going to remove this one. Here, subtract. There we are. For a moment, I will say remove none, so I can show you what will happen. There we are. Pretty nice, no? Let's do a quick test. I will select one face and then I move this inwards. How does this look? Not too bad. We just right here we can see there's an issue with the geometry. So properly this inner sphere, so this surface we need to adjust a little bit. Okay, I can go and undo everything. So again, this is now a matter of preference. You can select these two, do a subtract, remove the original piece, or I will say keep all, thank you. And now I need to figure out which one is which one. And there. Okay. Something went wrong here. So in case something like this happens, here, let me delete these parts one more time. Okay. This is a good moment to showcase now why to work with copies, because you can always go back. There. Good. So from and actually now I know what I did wrong. The sequence I did was incorrect. So from this, I would like this to be removed. So first and second, and do a cut. Keep all. Very good. Now we can see where is the piece. There. Very nice. So this one, I will now not make a copy. I will just simply move it out a little bit. Okay. To now, let me show you a little trick how we continue doing this. I will select this face and then I would like to create section views. There's this add plane command. There we are. And then this plane, I can move right. So it looks like it's inside this cavity, perfectly centered, very good. So when I select this plane and now with a finger, double tap, it moves the camera onto this plane and then lower right corner, the left object or icon, section view, I can turn on and turn this plane off. If I now rotate my view, there you can see what is going on. Beautiful. So I have a temporarily section view. So we need to adjust a few details. So this is 2 millimeters, but this is also a 1 millimeter thickness. So when this expands, this has to be 3 millimeters. Okay, good. What do we have here? So based on so this says 6 millimeter. This at the bottom, it tells you 8 millimeter. When we move this 1 millimeter to the right, okay. You see now that this area here started to work well, but this got too thick. So making this actually, moving this is not really what we need. I need to increase this, or I can decrease this. So you can see now that this actually works out really well, but now it starts to cut. So I will move this 1 more millimeter. There we are. And then can increase this. Then it's the same issue again. So what do we have to do here? I will just undo my steps till we have the original design here. And there we are. So if I actually just make this maybe 1 millimeter smaller, good. So that seems to work well. And then if I move this to there, oh, look at that. There it is. Beautiful. So this is correct. 2 and 3. And now because of the cut section, we figured out how we have to move something around. So once you do this a few times, you know exactly what to do. But I showed you with this process simply via doing a section view and then exploring what happens when I move and change the geometry to figure out the correct sequence. The section view is done. We can turn the section view off, go to the next object there, finger double tap, section view, turn section view off, and no, we do exactly the same thing again. This should be 3, so we make this bigger. And then this, again, we make this there, 1, and then -1. -1 because you see the arrow points to the right side. That would be positive, so 1. It has to go to the opposite side. So I basically figured out now this just goes 3, very good. Then here we give this a +1 and then the whole thing we do a -1. So I'm actually going to skip, as you can see, that section view because I figured out now how to do this. There we are. Beautiful. Okay. If I turn on this construction plane one more time, I move this maybe to here. And then with a finger double tap, turn section view on, and then select the object and move this in. You can actually see that we kind of can slide it right through it, which is another really useful tool or method to quickly see how the design will be or is. Instead of doing section view and then turning section view off, moving the construction plane, making a section view, we simply position this construction plane somewhere, do a section view, and then we can slide the object through it. Okay, very good. So this we can hide. We don't need it anymore. And I will double tap this one, make a copy. Again, move this a little bit to the right. Hide this. And then the next question could be, well, what can I do to make this look more interesting? I actually liked this look of pieces being cut. So 36. Now I can figure out when this is 36 and this is 50. By how many millimeters do I move this over? So 10 millimeters, 14 millimeters. Okay, good. So if I do this that way, how will this look when? So 32 is then 4, so 22. There we are. So we have a pretty nice kind of like band with irregular edges that look actually quite nice. When I select this, and this, can we also move this around? Let's see. Yeah, we can still modify this. Very nice. Okay. I would say this is actually a quite nice looking band or strip for the for a brooch. Just as one tip or alternative idea how we could have done this, I could also have made myself here this section plane, or I will remove the section plane and I'm going to rebuild 2 section planes, and then we'll show you or tell you why. So this we bring over 16. Very nice. And then I will select this face, also say section plane 16 the opposite way. Very good. And again, to work with multiples, I'm going to make myself here a copy. I'll move this one back by 10 millimeters. And then this piece, double tap, select this construction plane and say split. And double tap, select this one and split. These construction planes I can hide. Yeah, look at that. It's actually not too bad too. So this I will move over 5 millimeters. I will move this over 5 millimeters too. This one in the back I will hide. So now we can decide. We make one brooch on the right side, or we make actually 3 brooches, which is a set. Just as a creative idea, how we can work with this. Okay, very good. So last thing to do when we would like this to be a brooch, we need to have some sort of a mechanism to to wear it. We need to add a pin. How do we do the pin now? The pin can simply be forged out of a basic strip of silver wire, which with a tip we file pointy, we bend the end, and then we solder it onto this base. And it should be done quite nicely and centered. So on this edge, or I can select this edge, that's 22 millimeters. So from here on this face, kind of like I would like to have a line that goes straight down. So when I select this face with a finger, double tap, you see now there's actually a small magenta point. And when I draw a line straight up, it snaps to the midpoint. Beautiful. Can bring this down a little bit. Let's make this line 10 millimeters. There we are. Okay, so why did I do this line? Essentially, this line is a midpoint for me. Because now what I will do, I will select nothing, go to Add Construction Plane, Type, through Edge at an angle, select this line, next, 90. So you see there, it's perpendicular. Okay, very good. Because this is 22, I could also have made a new construction plane and then offset this 11 millimeters to the left too. So it would have been exactly the same. The approach I showed you was more sketch-based, finding the geometrical center point. So this edge or sketch I will delete. We don't need this anymore. I will go to this view, select this construction plane, double tap, and if I want, I can also turn on the section view, and now I will start drawing a line, drawing an arc, drawing a line. These two lines should be vertical, horizontal, arc, line, tangent, arc, line, tangent. 1 millimeter is a nice thin pin. Let's say 1.5 millimeter. So it has a certain level of material thickness. So this we can give a radius of 3 millimeters. From here to here, along horizontal direction, 10 millimeters. This is maybe too much, 8 millimeters. Okay, this looks better. Now again, because this is on the grid, very easy. You see how perfectly I can line up everything. From the top, how far would I like this to go down? We set 10 millimeters. Oh, there it is. See how I retraced the distance. I just removed the line because I don't need it anymore. Okay, so this we can bring down till there. Very good. The construction planar height, section view turn off. Now I would like to have kind of like a pipe flowing along this. So I need a circle right there, or I need a circle right there. How do we do this? It's actually very, very easy. There are two ways we can create a construction plane that is perpendicular to an edge. There, very good. When I select now this construction plane, finger double tap, and you see how it zooms to it. There's the endpoint, and here I can create my circle. 0.75, so we have a 1.5 diameter. The other very interesting trick is I will delete this construction plane so you can see how this works. Here's my original construction plane. Double tap. And right there, I will create myself this circle. Okay, but the circle has not the correct orientation. That is true. Because now I will go to, or leave the sketch mode, transform, move and rotate, select this circle, and where it is, I simply rotate it 90 degrees. And that's pretty much the same. So now I can select the profile, select this, select the 3 sketch elements, and then say sweep. There we are. Easy, no? This should be soldered onto it. So we can try to rotate our view till we find something that's usable. Oh, like this. And I can bring this over. I will bring this back a little bit so it's easier to show what I'm doing. And this face, I would like to be flush on this. So hue to hue. And look at that. There's now this command called replace face. If I select this, let's see, done. Okay, actually it did not work. Let's try this one more time. So hue to hue, replace face. And here you can actually play with various settings, or let's say not necessarily settings, but options. So when we take a look from here, this right now is not 100% working the way how I would envision this. Okay, good. No, so what do we do in such a case? Sometimes the tools work, sometimes they do not. The replace face, in theory, should have been able to put this over the surface, but then, okay, I just drag this over. Very good. That's another really nice feature of direct modeling in how easy these things are. In case one way doesn't work, okay, well, definitely there will be a different way that can work. So pay attention to what I'm doing. These 2 objects I join, and then I select these 2 faces and delete. And 1 second. Okay, let me actually go undo a few steps, because again, you have to be careful what you're doing. I had the original turned on. Okay, so turned off, zack, zack, and delete. Cleaned up. Beautiful, no? There, you see. This will later be soldered, so we can even add a little bit of fill material to it. So, okay. Now, how do we do the tip part? We could go ahead and round it. We can also chamfer it. Let's go to the chamfer command and then say to distance. Actually a really nice feature. So we drag this a little bit, stop, and then I get 2 arrows here, and I can drag this one over more. Can drag this one in there. So this is one way how to do this. The other way would be I would need to get back to my original sketch. And because the sketch for this geometry is actually not a solid plane, I have nothing to click on. That's the reason why I bring this construction plane back. Finger, double tap. There we are. And then I go to here. So I am drawing a line here. Then I draw a line to there, bring a line over, and there. So what did I do? need to figure out, there's my object. As you can see, I am simply creating myself like the profile for how to trim the piece. This is lined up along the grid, so this will work really, really good. However, this needs to get up a little bit, including this point there. And what I can do now is I select this, revolve this along this line, and revolve. Thank you. And then from this, I will remove this one and keep nothing. Thank you. There, nicely cleaned up. So you see, this is razor sharp. Very good. Now we can hide actually all the individual sketches. And on the left side, you see everything starts getting a little bit more complicated. So what we can do is, so this is brooch 1 here. This is the piece where we have 3 elements. We can put this into one folder, call this 3 set. So we're giving them some names. And we can call this 3 raw. This one I will move into this folder, so it's gone. There's another original piece I had there. There's this piece, so this actually will move to here, and I can even drag this onto an object. But maybe we can call this simply stamp process or stamping. Okay, let's hide this. And maybe this is brooch plus pin. And all these other elements here, we can put into one folder and call this folder construction. All these names are basically made up. I try to use names which are logical and make sense. So, for example, if you come back 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, you know really what is in each folder. So you don't have to go and study, analyze it, and spend some time. Because instantly when you go into Shapr, open an older file or a file you worked on a few days previously, you want to go right back and continue working with it. So it's a little bit of housekeeping. And there we are. We actually created a nice, interesting design of a brooch. We can now do the same thing, for example, with the pin, apply this to the other 3 pieces, then we have multiples. This now could be 3D printed, or we could also use this, for example, as a guide to take a piece of copper and then cut it out. We can take measurements of this. And with this, we also reached the end of this exercise. I hope you enjoyed this process I showed you and that it was informative for you. Have a good day.